Parshas Noach. So it's a very, very interesting point. I heard this name of the Rashiva of Tel Chicago, of Chaim Dov Keller Shlita, that you see Noach was Yesh Doshim L'Gnai, Yesh Doshim L'Shvach. You can learn about Noach. Okay, he's very praiseworthy because he was a big tzaddik, but it's only in his generation. If he would have been in the generation of Avraham Avinu, it'd be nothing. Or, the contrary, if it'd be the generation of Avraham Avinu, it'd be something, it'd be even more. So, he just explained it very beautifully that, what do you mean L'Gnai? Here the Torah finally gets somebody and we praise him as a tzaddik and now we have to go knock him down. So he was explaining it that, let's say it'd be a younger man learning in Lakewood. It'd be a good boy, a good younger man, chashav solid, but he's not a brilliant genius. So if they want to get a rabbi in some Hickville place, they come and he'd be recommended. He'd go. He doesn't have big aspirations to be Rosh Hashiva, Rosh Kaidel somewhere. But he'd go to this little Hickville place and he has to start giving shiurim, halacha, and Gemara. He become very proficient, very expert in halacha and everything. So he'd develop himself and become very big. If he would have stayed in Lakewood, he would have been something chashuv, but not, he would never have brought out his potential. So the fact that he was where he was, brought out his potential. That's what it means L'Gnai. But what is the purpose of telling this about Noach? L'Gnai, L'Shvach, V'Dayraisa. What's the point? He was a tzaddik. Teretz seems to be that we can learn from is that that's exactly the point. He was exactly where he was at the time he was supposed to be. Now, you're right. If he would be in Avraham Avinu's time, he would have been different. But he wasn't in Avraham Avinu's time. He was in his time. And when you're in your place, in your time, a person has to develop his greatness. In other words, I'm not in Avraham Avinu's time. I don't know how it'd be turning out. Because Baruch Hu chose each generation, each person to be in that generation, because he could contend with that generation for what's needed to be at that time. And I am who I am. So a person has to be careful not to fall into the trap of comparing himself. He has to learn from others. That's the Torah is teaching us. Learn. But he has to be able to develop his own kayach to be who the best he could be is. Now it could be Noach, could be bigger in himself. Right? We reproach Noach, he didn't be a Musa to the Tzibur, whatever it might have been. But the truth be told, the person has to be understood that the person is the person himself. And the person has to learn to understand that he has to be the best that he can possibly be. Okay. That's one that could about the Parshah about Noach. The amazing phenomena about Noach is that, Rashi says last week's Parshah, Bereshis, he didn't have children until 500 years old. 500 years. Now, if you look at the Chumash, people are getting babies at 100. That's young in those days, but for having babies, but people 100. Now, if a person can, 200 is already is 80, 300 is already adult is 80. Noach, 500 years, 500, didn't have children. No. Why? Because Rashi says, if he would have a lot of children, and they'd be evil, they have to be destroyed in the Mabul. I mean, I don't know what the problem with that is. I mean, obviously, if he's a bad child, to be destroyed in the Mabul, well, he doesn't deserve to live. I mean, so what's the problem? Why? Apparently, the fact that you have children and they're still alive, even though they're evil, it's painful to see them die, means that there's potential, hopefully, that they could come back. At least as long as the person's alive, you always hope they can always come back. Okay. Had he had children with tzaddikim, Noach would have to build tevos for all these children with tzaddikim. That's a tremendous amount of work. So, that's it. No children until 500. This way, who's ever born is not yet considered bar oinshin, is not punishable yet for crimes until they reach 100. So therefore, they'll be safe with Noach and the Teva. They can be saved. Now, Rashi in this week's parasha tells us why do you need a Teva in the first place? Hashem has plenty of ways to save people. So why a Teva? Oh, Teva is very important. Because Noach's going to slave away, making this teva, day after day. Yeah, people are intrigued. People like watching things, construction. You ever see people standing around looking? Everybody wants to know what's going on. Noach, what are you building over there? Oh, I'm building a teva. A teva? What's that? I mean, what's a teva? Well, it's going to be a ship-like form, because of flooding. Flooding? What flooding? It's building a dry land. Flooding. Kadosh Baruch Hu is going to bring a flood. Why? Flood. What's a flood for? Because we're evil. Evil. Hashem's going to destroy the world. Now, obviously, I assume most people, when they encounter Noach, the first time they hear him say this, they probably think is Bissel Meshiggah. But as things move along, this also takes an effect. Eventually, people start to think. Usually, it's a human nature. Maybe there's something to it. I mean, every day, and Noach is considered people as a tzaddik. I mean, he was a reverend person, revered. I mean, Noach was a tzaddik. So if he keeps saying that there's going to be a Mabul coming, Meshuggah changes his tones. One day this, one day that, but something was serious. And eventually you become understanding that there's a very good possibility. So I'm assuming that after Noach was doing this work day in, day out, year after year, it makes an impression that people come and watch and see the impact that Noach's making a table. There's going to be a Mabul. At least it's the talk. And people will slander. They'll be on the WhatsApp today or something. I'm sure people would say, when you hear this guy's talking about a Mabul, people, what's a Mabul for? Because people are bad. Why are people bad? What are we doing bad? And people understand the morals, the theft, Avodah Zarah, Gilei Rayas. Okay, it's out there. People see it. It's a Mabul. The world deserves to have the Mabul. So the impact of Noach building this teva can be impressionable enough that people can do tshuva. Okay. Did anybody do tshuva? Not one human being. Not one human being. Noach slaving away 120 years building a teva. He suffered 5 centuries of pain not having children. He didn't know about this Mabul thing coming up. He's living, imagine, he's going every year to the other doctors. What's going to be? Goes to this one, the other one. That's centuries. 500 years is before George Washington from today. That's going back in history. That's 1492 is close. I mean, to have 5 centuries. Why? Shouldn't have children. Why? Because he has to build a teva. Why? To give people a chance to do tshuva. Did anybody do tshuva? Not one human being. It would seem an act of futility. It was a waste of time and energy. And the poor man has to suffer for what? But one thing we see, that it's, in a sense, in the scheme of things, it's worth a person venturing, putting effort in, whatever it takes to do it, to give human beings an opportunity to be able to do tshuva. Success, that's not the person's department. The effort to put in, I once heard from Avram Abba Friedman, Zecher Tzadik L'Bracha, he was tremendous asking what he built in Detroit, the Shamas families, Russian families, and he was working and spending time with the Russian family. For 6 months, he invested a tremendous amount of energy and effort, and he was successful many times. Beautiful, beautiful families that have come out from their B'nai Torah, B'nai Aliyah. This family, nothing, zero. 6 months, that's a lot of work for him when he was never stopped working. And an effort that he put in, and someone asked him afterwards, Rabbi, you're not depressed? He says, depressed? Depressed from what? Look what the investment he put into the family. He said, I'd be depressed if I didn't invest all that effort. Hatzlacha has nothing to do with me. Nothing! I have to invest. If I didn't invest, I'd be depressed. I didn't do everything I could possibly do, but I did. I'm very happy. I did what I had to do. Hatzlacha is Baruch Shalom's department. We unfortunately look at our successes as being our products. What we did, that's not up to the person to have success. It's worth 5 centuries of pain, 120 years of building a teva that Noach had to do just to give people an opportunity to be able to do tshuva, and nobody did. He did his job. That's what he's supposed to do. Amazing thing. Okay. And the unbelievable part about it is that he went through his entire year in the teva, the effort that he put into the animals to make the survival of the creation of the world what we have today is all because of Noach. His family, the Mesiras Nefesh, literally, that they had. But look at Noach after the teva. He's building up new generations, and I can't understand the man. Here he is, 300 years later, the world's full of Avodah Zarah again, the building of the Tower of Babel, and this is Noach's Einiklach, U'Einiklach. He's the man that went through the Mabul. He saw all this take place. He saw the destruction of the world. And here he comes along and invites him. What Yiddish Anachas did he get out of this whole business? Creates a world, and they're doing Avodah Zarah. I'm guessing Noach had to go around and tell them, hey, I'm this 80. Don't do it. Look what happened with us. We had a mabul. It's his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, descendants. We're back to square one. I mean, he went through the mabul. He went through the world. It was destroyed. And now Nachamo. Same thing again, opening. I mean, how did the man take it? What's the pshat? Well, at least there, the point is, a very interesting phenomenon in detail, is that Avram Avinu was Noach years old. He was 58 years old when Noach passed away. Interesting sort of called coincidence. He was Noach years old. That means what Noach really did, accomplished, that we needed Avram on the world, change the whole world. That's where it all comes from, Avram Avinu. So accomplishment he actually did have. I don't know if he had that, where he got it, but for us, at least in the picture of scheme of things, he did leave one of Avram Avinu in the world, and that was enough. So all the effort that he put in paid off in the sense that where we come from, Avram Noitel Schar Kulam, as the Mishnah says in Pirkei Avos. But question is, how come he didn't have an effect? His children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, I mean, he went through it. It's like he was a living person that experienced the mabul. How can people walk around the face of the earth afterwards and life must be screaming at them, you can't do this. Old man, old fogey, man. But he told them. I mean, Nineveh had a great success rate in Tshuva. Paroi, he was the one who experienced the Kriyas Yamsuf, and hundreds of years later, he impacted his people. We better do Tshuva. Hashem's warning us. We better do Tshuva. I saw it myself. Oh, and everybody listens to Paroi. So why couldn't Noach have the same effect? Noach, he went through it, the Bible. They're only here because of him. He's the man that was their ancestor. They're coming from him. Now, old man, don't listen to him. That's an amazing thing. Now, could very well be, possibly, we find, Vayochel Noach. Noach had, after the Teva, he made the vineyard. He had to have a cup of wine. Oh, Vayochel Noach, he became chulin, became a mundane person. A cup of wine. I mean, come on, Noach, what are you getting involved with wine for? I mean, what is the purpose of wine? Yayin yisamach levav enosh. Yayin is to make people happy. If anybody was sad, I have to guess it's Noach. He saw the devastation of a whole world. He lived with creations for a whole year. He doesn't deserve a cup of wine. Let the old man have a drink. He needs to make a l'chaim. What he went through. I mean, the whole purpose of wine is l'morei nefesh. People are bitter of heart. That's the purpose of yayin. Nakash Baruch Hu made the brie of yayin. Yisamach levav enosh. The poor man is bitter. Let him have his cup of wine. No. Yochel Noach. He's chulin. It's an amazing thing. He should be chulin. The one man who deserves it. Chulin. So it's possible, Efshit, to say that, look, you see Yitzchak Avinu, Leibach say by Yitzchak, we look at Afarash of Yitzchak, the ash of Yitzchak. Where's the ash of Yitzchak? Yitzchak was not brought as a carbon. I mean, he put him on the Mizbeach. He didn't shecht him. It wasn't his ash. But we call the ash of Yitzchak. Why? Because Avram Avinu went, and after Yitzchak was now no longer the carbon, Hashem said, don't shecht him. So Avram, I got to shecht the carbon. He goes and runs and finds the ayil. I found the ram. Let's shecht the ram. So what's going on there? That ram is Afarish of Yitzchak. It's mamish in lieu of Yitzchak. So Rabbi said, what's the pshat? Imagine having a climax. You just brought Yitzchak as the Akeda. And then brought with the Ganzach under the 3 days, and you put him up in his bech, and you machshavas, and dveikis HaKadosh Baruch, and you're cleaving to Hashem, you're going to shech the carbon Yitzchak. And Hashem says, no. I just wanted to test you, and you passed the test of flying colors. Chai, Baruch Hashem. It'd be so, anticlimactic, we would say now, oh, Baruch Hashem, I'm out of here. I can run away, it was all a test, very happy. Avram Avinu, with such a fervor to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, how can I serve Hashem now? Yitzchak, let me get a ram. I'll get the ram and I'll shech the ram to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He didn't let that pinnacle of when he reached the point of Kedusha, such a closeness to Hashem, didn't let it dissipate. I passed, I'm done. Finish, Baruch Hashem. How can I channel that avoida now And now he took the void, they put Isle of Yitzchak, he shechted that HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's mamish the place of Yitzchak. Afore, that's the ash of Yitzchak. Noach, you're right, he went through a terrible, terrible devastation. But now Noach, he's building a new world. He just experienced and saw how Kadosh Baruch Hu destroys Ra, evil. And he saw Nisim and Niflo is able to maintain the world order in the Teva. With everything you saw, and now you're coming out to the world, you want to put that new injection into the world of Kedusha, of Avodah. I'm going to come along and serve Hashem, and he brought Kabbalas. He's after you. But that wine wasn't at the right time. You could have waited. Let's make the Aschala that you saw it. Let's build the world like Kadosh Baruch Hu can now come along and make a new order of the Bria that we can invest it with for that Kedusha. And I had to have that cup of wine now. Yochel became Chulin. He became mundane. He was Ish Tzaddik before. Now he went down. Such a person doesn't have that effect anymore. He lost that Chulin. Paroi, he went to Kriyas Yamsuf. V'yodem Mitzrayim K'ani Hashem. He got the level of Ani Hashem. Yeah. Hundreds of years later, it was still there that he read, but this, Hashem said that he was going to destroy them. Ninveh, all our boys are to do tshuva. In the sense, he was on the up. Life was on the down. He missed the opportunity of what he could have used on that elevated level. Pump it up, put the investment in, make the new world with the new aschala that you have, that drive, the energy. You could have created a new world, a different bria. You can lose it. We have to be so careful. How we have to maintain. The person has to be in the constant mode of steiging, growing, of developing. The person to channel the koichos, the person that has the opportunities that he has, that Kosh Baruch Hu grants us, we should be able to have the chachma and the siyat d'shmaya and the ability to be able to continue in success. But nothing ever goes. Even Noach's efforts did bear fruit. With all of the centuries of labor, here Avram Avinu Lamaisa came out from the whole bria, and then Avram Avinu was the Neitel Schakula. That Lamaisa, what the person can gain from it, be careful is that he has to be on his always oifen of aliyah, of steiging, Hashem Hatzlacha.